Welcome to another episode of Routes Through Pokemon Adventures. I'm Shea Locke.
I'm Ruby.
And together we are a father-daughter duo journeying through the mainline series of Pokemon games, the Pokemon anime, and the Pokemon Adventures manga. And this week we are looking at 6 episodes of the Pokemon anime. Our first 4 will wrap up the current season we're in, which is Johto League Champions, and then the last 2 will be the beginning of the 3rd season in Johto, Master Quest. But before we dive into the episodes, let's catch up on what's been going on. What have you been up to, Ruby?
I had a babysitting job yesterday, and we're starting on this playset that a friend gave us. We're building it. It's kind of big.
Yeah. It's good. Yeah, we had to readjust where we were planning on setting that up.
And you got a beard cut, which I don't like.
Yes, I finally have gotten a significant trim to my beard and my hair.
Your hair is okay, but the beard, come on. I don't like it.
It highlights the roundness of my head. Now I look kind of like a snowman. Around middle, around top. The only part that's not really all that round is the bottom portion. Yeah, I also was sick yesterday, which I got from all of you guys getting sick beforehand. So that was fun. It's a good thing it wasn't recording day yesterday, although I could have still recorded. It didn't hurt my throat at all. I just would have been dragging a little.
I had a sore throat this morning.
Oh dear. Well, I'm glad you don't now.
I was like, oh, come on.
And in Pokemon Go, I just completed like a bunch of quests. Oh! That was Fuecoco Community Day recently, and you said you had gotten like 1 shiny, and I told you I got 2, but I also bought the ticket for Community Day, which means you have that special research to do, and they've changed how the quests work now. And usually when you do the special research, you get rewards of more of the Pokemon that's from the Community Day.
Yeah.
I got 2 more shinies from that. So I actually got 4 shinies. I just finished those like last night. So that was exciting. Because I couldn't finish the day of because I couldn't do some of the stuff they needed me to do, like hit Pokestops and everything, because I wasn't going anywhere on Community Day. I was stuck at work.
Should have asked for that day off.
No.
That would have been a waste.
I think our next Community Day is actually Totodile.
Totodile?
Yeah. I think it's this month as well. So, good chance for you to get some shiny versions of the starter that you chose for this leg of our journey.
I have to, just for the podcast.
Right? I also hatched a shiny Wynot. I already had a shiny Wobbuffet, so now I got the shiny Wynot.
I still have to work out a story for them.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't started.
Yeah, you gotta do that.
We played some Turtles board game.
Oh, yeah. I dug out my old TMNT Adventures board game again. What are the 2 boxes? There's City Falls, the second one, and... Change is Constant. Yeah, that's a lot of fun. Yeah, we got to play a couple rounds of that. You and me and Vavai and Flame?
And
that's it.
Roselle.
She didn't play.
She didn't play?
No.
Oh, she didn't. She watched for part of one of them.
Yeah, she was doing other things. Yeah, that was fun. Got to get Tidal Blades out again, though, but Turtles was quicker to set up and easier, and Vavai really wanted to try it out. Yeah, hopefully we can get Tidal Blades out again, but it's going to be hard to do probably this week.
Yeah, we can't do it this weekend. And you work the next 2 days.
Yeah.
Dang it.
But I do want to get that out sooner rather than later so we don't kind of forget where we left off. So it's easier for me to keep track of everything since I'm running 2 separate campaigns, which the game isn't really designed for.
Summer's coming up too, so we'll be good.
Well, I don't have this summer off like I did last summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, also, speaking of summer, Ruby and I have been going pretty hard on all these episodes and trying to stay on top of it, even through sickness and everything. So we're probably going to take a break sometime in the summer. I'm not exactly sure when it will be. So there will be probably a month or 2 pause on the show. There's a certain point I want to reach in the games and everything before we get to that point, because I think it'll be a very good break point. But then we will come back with our part 2 of season 2 after that break. So just a fair warning that we'll go off the air for a little while in the future. But yeah, that's all I can think of for me right now. Like I said, I finished up a lot of different timed research and other researches that I was doing. Oh, because there's a new season of Pokemon Go now as well. We're done with Unova. and now we're in, I forget what it's called. And that is the whole thing with this martial arty bear guy thing. I don't know what he is. I forget what his name is. But he seems cool. He's what's highlighted on the screen when you load up Pokemon Go now. I got one, but that's about it. Alright. Well, then let's go ahead and jump into these episodes since we have a whole end of season thing to take care of this week. Now, this is going to be fun because if you remember some discussions we've had the last 2 episodes regarding the anime, so not last episode, but the 2 before that, because we just had a detour. We run into some interesting things. I'm just going to say.
I probably don't remember.
It's okay. So, starting off, we are on episode 208, or season 4, episode 49. The Joy of Water Pokemon, or Mizu Pokemon Girai no Joy-san, Kasumi no Ikari, or the Nurse Joy who hates water Pokemon, Kasumi's Anger.
Oh, Kasumi is Misty.
Correct.
Yes.
And you should know Mizu, right?
Oh yeah, that's water. And they had 2 exclamation points and 1 question mark, so we count it as 3.
Yep. Okay, so do you remember what we learned in the last episode of the anime itself? So this was the anime episode right before the movie. Do you remember what episode that was?
I do not.
It was the Kecleon Caper.
Oh, that one.
And what did we learn about the world that the people are adventuring in?
Oh, that there's no Pokemon Center for a few towns?
Not until Olivine City, specifically.
Yeah.
Now, in the movie, they reference, we should go to the Pokemon Center with the Celebi, or something like that. But they get sidetracked, and they didn't necessarily know where one was, so you could argue that it wasn't around. However, this whole episode features Joy and a Pokemon Center pretty heavily.
It's a secret Pokemon Center.
It's not a secret at all. Misty knew all about it.
It's a hidden Pokemon Center. They just built it.
Anyway, so yes, our very next episode, after talking about how there wasn't any, we have a one that's where it's the main feature.
Maybe they are in Olivine, just on the outskirts of town.
No, they're not. But
Oh.
the landscape does look a lot like the forest from the Pokemon Forever movie. So it could be argued that the Pokemon Center that a Pokemon Center in the woods is not a place that the dirigible could reach. And so for people flying on the dirigible, the next Pokemon Center for them would be a place where they could land, which would be Olivine City. So you could argue that, but I just think it's really funny that they made a point of saying that to get Brock to be the one to help out, and they turn around and give us one that right off the bat. So anyway, they reach a lake that Misty has heard of before. It's Lake Lucid, and every water Pokemon trainer wants to visit the famous Pokemon Center there.
But they don't know where it is.
Oh no, yeah, sure. Then something strange emerges from the water holding a Goldeen. Almost looks like a spacesuit, but Brock knows it is a girl anyway. After some Chansey show up and take the Goldeen away, this woman emerges from the suit, and it's Joy.
And when she emerged, she's like, oh, thank goodness that's over. And I was like, oh, she just didn't like being underwater. Okay.
Right, or like they've saved now the whole ordeal or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Brock jumps into flirting mode, and Misty pushes his face out of the way, both in a moment of babysitting Brock, but also because she is excited to meet this particular Nurse Joy. The Nurse Joy offers them all to come to the center, as Pikachu looks a little tired, and this Nurse Joy is supposedly famous, and Brock has one of the books she wrote. Only it wasn't her, it was her grandmother. Or, probably a clone.
Oh.
Because they're all clones. Anyway, 50 years ago, the lakes were very polluted. So bad, even muck stayed away. And that grandmother Nurse Joy studied it and wrote a book, and Ash wonders how it got cleaned up. Then Brock finds a different book that he has at his...
I do have a question about, the muck staying away. The dirtier, the better for them. So how is that,
It shows that it was just that toxic.
It just doesn't make a whole ton of sense to me, but oh well.
It was just a way to highlight that it was really bad. So then Brock finds another book in his collection that was written, that he thinks must be this Nurse Joy's, but that one's actually written by her mother, who was inspired by the grandmother. So her mother then.
Or her cloning mother.
Yeah, the one that raised her. Because, we see them as little girls, so they probably get cloned as little girls and get raised.
Mm-hmm.
And the mother, apparently, managed to get things cleaned up. So the grandmother wrote about the toxicity of everything and how it needs to be taken care of. The mother is actually the one to start cleaning it up and got the lake to become crystal clear.
I think the grandmother started it, and then the muck finally started coming back, and then the mother continued her legacy.
Something like that.
That's what I'm pretty sure.
Basically, each generation was another step into getting things cleaner. And the mother's also the one who built the Pokemon Center, because it wasn't a center there yet.
There's nothing to center, though. Like, no Pokemon to take care of.
Right, but the reason they built it is because now so many water Pokemon return to the area.
Mm-hmm.
And Brock tries to flirt again, and Misty is babysitting Brock a second time with an ear pull. Brock really wants an autograph and digs around to find the book that this particular Joy wrote, and finds out she hasn't written one yet. Meanwhile, Team Rocket is spying in a new Pokemon sub, and this one looks like a Tentacruel. But they happen to meet a real Tentacruel that wants to spar, which Team Rocket can't really do because they can't do Pokemon moves because they're just a submarine. Meanwhile, the gang all head to the Pokemon Center, finally, after being offered, twice, I think, during their conversation. And Pikachu is looking refreshed. Misty wants this famous Nurse Joy to do a checkup on her Pokemon, since, she's famous for all the water Pokemon stuff, and Misty has water Pokemon. So yeah, then she mentions that they are all her water Pokemon as she gets ready to send them out, and Nurse Joy suddenly looks frightened. She backs up and wants Misty to keep those Pokemon away from her, and not let them touch her. And then Joy reveals she hates water Pokemon. Dun dun dun. Team Rocket used their sub to get in through an underwater tunnel to get to the Pokemon Center. So they're coming, because the Pokemon Center's right on the lake or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Up above, Nurse Joy has hurt Misty's feelings for hating water Pokemon. She needs her special suit on to take care of the water Pokemon instead. So when she was like, oh, thank goodness that's over, it's because she was in the water dealing with water Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
Joy does explain her distaste does not hinder her job performance, however. Water Pokemon still get the best care at her center. And then we get our Who's That Pokemon trivia. This Pokemon can trap and eat bugs like a Venus flytrap. Back in the center, there are a lot of tanks with different water Pokemon. Misty showed disdain for Gyarados earlier in the episode, and when they see this one in a tank, she shows her disgust for him again, which is very similar to how Joy feels about all water Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
So they have something in common there. Not that Misty seems to catch on. Misty and Joy have a debate about the situation. A whole thing about, this is why you should never meet your heroes. They end up disappointing. Because you find out they're human and have flaws. We tend to build up heroes in our minds a lot of times. Then Joy explains that she used to love water Pokemon. And when her clone mother, she doesn't say clone mother, it's just me, and her were in a boat, when this Joy was young, a Remoraid came by and sprayed her in the face and then surrounded her and as she fell into the water, and she was very scared. The Remoraid were just playing, but Joy didn't know that at the time, and she became fearful of water Pokemon. And even understanding that that's what was happening, she hasn't gotten over that fear. It still traumatized her. Then the Tentacruel sub pops up out of the pool in the area where they're taking care of all the Pokemon. So Team Rocket do a weird underwater performance of their motto. So most of it's hard to understand because their heads are in the water half the time. But beyond that, it's just a regular motto.
Yeah, like when they were stuffing their faces full of food.
Yes.
Did the motto.
And they get back in their Tentacruel and grab Pikachu. Pikachu shocks them, Gyarados' tank gets cracked, and a button gets pushed that sucks Team Rocket down the drain and back out the tunnel where they're off again as they go down the drain again. Gyarados' tank explodes, and Joy's suit gets sucked down the drain too. But Joy knows she needs to take care of that Gyarados, and so, even without the suit, she will take care of that Pokemon. It is an emergency, and really, I found this true in my life as well. When in circumstances I become I can more easily overcome my own hang-ups when like I got to take care of a situation.
Yeah, if it's like something that needs to be done right away, I can usually get over like a hang up or whatever. But like, sure, if it takes me an extra 5 minutes and doesn't affect anyone else, yeah, I'm gonna do that way if I much prefer it.
Yeah. Joy pets the Gyarados with bare hands and soothes the Pokemon. Then the Chansey come in and help get Gyarados squared away. Joy goes to give Misty's Pokemon an examination, but then passes out exhausted. In the end, she still doesn't like water Pokemon, so there wasn't like this big lesson learned or fear overcoming thing, you know? She still doesn't like them. But she will still do her job, which she proved. And Misty feels better about the situation now. Then the gang leave and continue their journey. And our who's that Pokemon? It's Bellsprout. Spoopy. And our tally, we have 2 babysitting Brocks. We have off again as they go down the drain again. And is this a entertaining exit then too, since they left in a not normal manner?
What do you mean not normal?
So they didn't blast off. They didn't go flying in the sky. There's no ding. They got sucked down a drain.
Oh, I suppose since there was no ding, it could be.
Even with the ding, I think sometimes it counts. Like when they went down, or did we count that one? I can't remember. When they went off into the tunnel in like the first episode of this particular season. I think I need to better define what counts as an entertaining exit.
I thought it was when they didn't really say anything. Like the one time when the Ghastly made them think that they were in like a tropical area, even though they were still in the forest, and it kind of just zoomed out and then the episode was over. That was an entertaining exit.
I thought they still said something like an off again thing, like where maybe not though, but I thought maybe like drifting off again or oh no, because they were just relaxing. They didn't know they were dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but then that gets confusing because then we have like weird epilogues where even they did blast off, they have those moments where they're like surrounded by Gyarados on a rock and things like that. And I'm wondering if I should have been counting those all along then.
Well, I've always been confused by entertaining exit, whether it counts or if it doesn't, so...
It's all my fault, because I haven't had a clear, concise thing. We're going to count it this time, and I think we're going to make sure it's much better defined for the next season, and so when I go back, I can check it. Oh, because I think we definitely counted it when they were just laying in the lake in the movie.
Probably.
And they did say drifting off again, so they had it off again on that, too. All right, but that's that episode, so it's time to rank it!
I kind of liked when Brock kept pulling out books and there was that little thing, and that was kind of funny. But, I don't know, there was nothing terrible about the episode, I guess. Do you have any big thoughts on it?
I did like that we didn't have Joy, like, quote-unquote, learn her lesson and just suddenly be okay with water Pokemon. Like, I think her fear is a little silly how it all came to pass, and that she even learned that, like, they were just playing, so there wasn't anything to be scared of, but there's still trauma, and, like, that's the weird thing about trauma, is, like, you don't, like, it just kind of, like, sits there, and you can't always just, like, make it go away just by logic. So, I mean, I get it. It's so, I don't know. I did like that it didn't just go away even when she took care of it, and that she was still able to do her job and overcome that in the moment to take care of what she needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that kind of stuff. So that ups it a little bit for me.
Okay.
Like, I'm not saying it's like a top episode, but...
I don't know, maybe underneath all that glitters, because Imitation Confrontation was the Pseudo-Wudo, right?
No, that's the Ditto.
Oh! Why is that one so low?
Typecasting is Pseudo-Wudo.
Oh, okay, that's more where I thought that would be. No, what's your preference?
I would prefer it under Freeze Frame with the Articuno and Jigglypuff, but, you know.
Oh, yeah. I forget the good parts, guys. Yeah, that seems like a good spot.
So under typecasting? Or above typecasting? I don't care. Whatever.
Let's go above.
Okay. And so then that puts the Joy of Water Pokemon at our new number 24 out of 49 currently. Alright, and so then our next episode is Season 4, Episode 50, Got Miltank. Have you ever heard of the saying, Got Milk? Got Milk was an ad campaign to get people to drink milk all the time, so they would put it on billboards and all this stuff, and basically all it said was, Got Milk, with a question mark.
Okay.
In fact, I had a Cookie Monster shirt for a while that said, Got Cookie, that was playing off of that. And every time I wore it, people would answer almost always, somebody would eventually answer the question, and I would forget that I'm wearing the shirt, so they would just look at me and go, no. And I'm like, what? No, what?
Someone will comment off of a shirt or something I'm wearing, or say, "Oh, that's a nice outfit." I'll be like,
What am I wearing
yeah, it's
again?
kind of good. I like it. Guess that's why I chose to wear it today. I don't usually remember what I'm wearing.
Yeah, I'm with you. Or it is Seibo Merutanku Sabaku no Himitsu. Or The Mother Miltank, The Desert's Secret.
Okay, so they've got 2 exclamation points, but no question marks, so that's tisk tisk tisk. But the English title has a question mark, so this is one of the times they don't.
Yep. So the gang end up in a desert-looking area, and Brock says Olivine City should be on the other side. Then Brock says the guide mentions, yep, another Pokemon Center nearby. Look, I tried to help you out with the last one, but you guys are really pushing it. Anyway, and it's a desert. I'm sure the dirigible could find a place to land around there.
You know, just a desert isn't necessarily even sand. It's a vast area of nothingness.
As they start to cross, Ash suddenly falls into a pit, and Pikachu is snatched out of the air by a net. Team Rocket reveal themselves, and when Misty tells them to bother someone else for a change, they give an interesting intro in response.
You should just bother to prepare for trouble.
While you're at it, make it double. And that's as far as it gets, when we get an irritating interruption from Meowth, who says, I'm cutting this one short. Because they had to make room for the opening credits, I guess, because that's what we get right after that. But then back to the show, Brock and Misty help Ash out of the pit. Then Team Rocket hop on the balloon and take off and send Weezing in to cover their escape. Cyndaquil lands on Weezing, but when Weezing shakes it off and he gets a bump on his nose, and it becomes all red, Team Rocket makes fun of Cyndaquil. Ash has to jump in front of an attack for Cyndaquil while it's still feeling down from being made fun of, and that helps perk up its spirits. So Cyndaquil flamethrowers the smokescreen, and there is an explosion. Pikachu snaps free, a hole bursts in the balloon, and Team Rocket is gone. But Cyndaquil went missing in the explosion, and it is lost all alone in the desert. A centric on top of a rock sends out its scouting alarm, and it calls in some other Pokemon like a Sandshrew. Brock says they should... Back with the gang, Brock says they should go to the Pokemon Center and see if it ended up there. There is no luck, but Joy mentions a legend about sick and injured Pokemon that are separated from their trainers, and how they somehow find their way back to them better than before. People have speculated there is a secret Pokemon oasis where Pokemon go to be healed somewhere in the desert. So Ash and Co. go looking.
Wait, maybe she knows that legend is true? So their Pokemon Center isn't actually that big? They just got a little chute where they throw the Pokemon in there and say, bye, hope you come back. And if they don't, they'll be like, I'm sorry, your Pokemon died.
Oh my gosh. That took a weird turn.
It makes sense.
Sure. Cyndaquil gets tired and collapses, but the Butterfree, Sandshrew, and Centric find Cyndaquil. Then a Doug trio comes along and picks it up and carries it along. Team Rocket is hanging in their basket as their balloon crashed onto a tall rock. Then they see Doug trio carrying Cyndaquil, so they plan to catch it and use it as bait to also catch Pikachu. To work the plan, Jessie tosses Meowth to the ground.
And he complains about how far it is, and they're like, oh, you'll be fine.
Yep. And so then Meowth is also red in the face as it got injured, and suddenly he's picked up by a Doug trio as well. Meowth freaks, and Team Rocket does too, and shake around until their basket falls and they land in pain on the ground. But no Doug trio come to carry them off. Meanwhile, Onyx is scouting out in the desert trying to find Ash's Pokemon. Then they spot 2 Quagsire.
I want to rank this one.
Too bad.
Dang it. Master Ball.
Oh my gosh. And they're a little confused because Quagsire are like a water Pokemon, so what are they doing out in the desert? They flee, and Ash and Co. give chase. There they find a mountain in the desert. Then Noctowl and Crobat arrive, apparently from scouting ahead. They found something at the mountain, so Ash heads toward it. Jessie and James sneak behind the Doug trio. Meowth and Cyndaquil are tossed onto an Executor that wanders into a cave.
This is giving me, like, Anya vibes. It's a book. It's a Christmas book, and she like goes on a bunch of different animals to get to Santa Claus. It's like they kept tossing him along different Pokemon.
Right. Yeah, and so then the Executor takes them into an opening in the middle of the mountain where there is a waterfall, lush grass, and a lot of Pokemon. There they meet a Miltank, and it touches Cyndaquil's nose and rings a bell on its tail. Like its tail rings like a bell, healing Cyndaquil. It does the same to Meowth. Outside, Jessie and James go toward the swarm of other Executor, and suddenly Jessie and James find the mountain is now behind them, and they're very confused. Brock spies ahead from atop the Onix and sees Jessie and James walking away hypnotized from the Executor. So Ash and Co decide to use Onix to approach from underground so that they don't get hypnotized. Then we get our Who's That Pokemon trivia. When scared, this Pokemon shoots flames out of its back. Ash and Co make it into the underground tunnel. Meanwhile, Jessie and James were hypnotized all the way back to their balloon. So Jessie plans to patch up the balloon and they will make their approach from above. Back to the Oasis, Ash and Co arrive and see that Miltank is healing his Pokemon. But then Ash and Co make their presence known and they are immediately unwelcome. Meowth explains the humans are not allowed, but Cyndaquil is trying to explain things to the other Pokemon about Ash. Then Team Rocket arrive from above. They give us a little rhyme as sort of a pre-intro. Not sure if we should count that as anything.
Well, we're only here to find our friend, too.
So excuse our intrusion. What else could we do? Then Meowth is not excited they are there, saying, oh no, not them. To which Team Rocket responds with our second interesting intro.
Yes, us. So prepare for trouble.
Who else would it be? Now make it double.
I apparently can't do Jessie.
Wobbuffet gives the final statement again, since Meowth is down below. So instead of a that's right, we get a Wobbuffet. Then Team Rocket have to remind Meowth he's a villain and needs to help round up the Pokemon, and they send out their Pokemon, which gives us another Victory Bell eating James distracted Pokemon event. Meowth refuses to help Team Rocket because how special the place is and how Miltank helped him. Even the other Team Rocket Pokemon decide not to help, so Team Rocket launches a net to capture Miltank, and Meowth climbs up the rope and gets into the balloon to stop them, but he gets tied up instead. So then Cyndaquil burns the rope the net is attached to, and as it falls, Bayleaf cuts the next part, and Miltank lands in the water. Then Pikachu zaps Team Rocket, and they go blasting off again! Ding! This all helped earn the gang respect from Miltank and the others. They say their goodbyes, and Ash promises not to reveal the Oasis location to anyone. And then the gang head back out toward Olivine City.
To the central Olivine City, because this Pokemon Center was on the outskirts of the town.
So, some trivia for the episode. Apparently, in the original version, Meowth and Cyndaquil were actually seen nursing on Miltank, but all segments of that were cut out from the English dub because they thought that might be inappropriate for children viewers. So then we are Who's That Pokemon? It's Cyndaquil. And we had two interesting intros because I don't think the other rhyme really counts as one.
Yeah, not really.
It was just fun.
Mm-hmm.
We had one irritating interruption, which was actually a pretty funny one, I thought, with Meowth just cutting him completely short
I
for
liked
the
it.
credits.
Wait, did you see it right away? Or did we have to rewind because you're like, wait, what did he say? Or did we have to rewind because I didn't see it? Because I feel like we had to rewind to see it because...
I might have just not heard exactly what he said or something. I don't know.
Mm.
And we had one distracted Pokemon. So now it's time to rank it. So, I mean, the episode's fine. Nothing too interesting in my opinion. I did like Meowth was siding with the Pokemon there for a bit. I'm feeling like right underneath the big balloon blow up. Right above the Light Fantastic. Light Fantastic was the Remoraid ice sculpture thing, and the big balloon blow up was the hot air balloon race.
I think it needs to go maybe right below...
Oh,
or right
shut
above
up.
current events.
The Quagsire were hardly involved.
They were involved so much by my heart.
Any serious opinions from your side?
I'm very serious. Right above the Light Fantastic, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good.
Alright, and so that makes Got Miltank our current number 30 out of 50. Alright, and so then our next episode, Season 4, Episode 51, Fight for the Light, or Kagayaki no Toodai, Asagi Shiti no Tatakai, or Radiance Lighthouse, Battle at Asagi City.
And they brought 3 exclamation points.
Yep. And we have a battle at Asagi City. So Asagi is the Japanese name for Olivine City, because we're finally at Olivine. And that really goes well with the last episode, because Brock did say Olivine is on the other side of the desert. And the gang just finished the desert, and now they're at Olivine. Finally making it to the location of their next gym.
Olivine doesn't seem like that great of a place from the Japanese title. The one word before no, it sounded like...
Oh, yeah. Yep.
It sounds like a poopy city.
Yeah. Anyway. So Ash heads straight for the gym, and as he and the gang run off, 3 garbage cans jump into the middle of the street behind them. Team Rocket pop their heads out, reciting a muddled middle of their motto.
Wait, they skipped the intro?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Because they're like a... Prepare for trouble and make it double. To protect the world from devastation. That's what this is.
To encourage proper sanitation.
And prevent garbage contamination. And thanks to Meowth, we again have an irritating interruption. We recycle our motto all the time, but this trash talk's a complete waste. Some puns about garbage. Then Team Rocket see a beautiful office building, and so they are going to try and get a job there. They rush up to the building, but they're stopped by guards that demand to see badges. So James shows off his bottle cap badges. They don't work because they need to see gym badges. And then we learn that this building is the Battle Tower.
Oh, yeah.
Which is in Crystal.
When he said that they needed badges, I don't know why, but it definitely clicked right away that James was going to pull out his bottle caps.
That's funny. I love the running gag of his bottle caps. At the gym, Ash bangs on a door wanting a battle. So a young girl voice, one I'm sure we've heard voice other characters before, tells Ash to enter. This person sounds too young to be Jasmine, who we know is the gym leader in Olivine. It's dark in the gym, and then at the battle arena, a door opens, and a silhouette that doesn't look like Jasmine claims she is the gym leader, Jasmine. When she steps into the light, it is clear she is not the Jasmine we know from manga and games. Maybe it's the Jasmine for the anime, except that I think we've seen her in the intro before too. Maybe not. I can't remember.
I don't know if we actually... Well...
No, there's a shot of all the gym leaders, I think, at one point. It's very brief, but I think it does pop up.
I don't know if it's all of them. Is it?
I don't know. I could be wrong.
I could be too.
So then the girl sends in Onyx, who has a kind of shine to him, but he's not a shiny Pokemon. Ash finally learns his lesson on Onyx battling and sends in Totodile. Unfortunately, this time it doesn't work. Onyx just pushes through the water. After a bit, the battle is stopped by the real Jasmine. Brock falls in love again. Then we learn that the little girl, Janina, was supposed to learn more about her Onyx and what it wanted, and she covered it in water-repellent wax, which is why Water Gun didn't work. But that's not allowed in battles, apparently. In Jasmine's office, and Jasmine has a Magnemite riding on her shoulder, which I thought was kind of cool, she has a chat with Janina. So she tells Janina to spend time with Onyx away from the gym and alone. And Janina seems to get it in her head, based off the end of the episode, and I think another comment somewhere else, that she has been expelled from the gym, which is not what Jasmine said. Jasmine talks to Ash and tells him she can't do any gym battles right now since she is consumed with worry and trying to help her little Sparkle. Brock hopes Sparkle is Jasmine's equally beautiful cousin.
But the way she says little Sparkle.
Yeah.
How old do you think she is,
right,
Brock?
Right? Of course, Sparkle is just Ampharos, as we'll learn later. Jasmine gets a call and has to leave. Ash and Co. walk down the street, and then Ash realizes he didn't find out when Jasmine could battle. Then they run into Janina, and she is cleaning Onyx with sand to get the wax off, and Brock gets after her a little bit about not treating Onyx properly. He explains that erasing weaknesses isn't the way, but leaning into and encouraging its strengths is what you should be doing.
But they mentioned how wax was hurting Onyx, but I don't understand how it was.
Well, if it's clogging up any of the crevices and stuff, kind of like when that sand slash was in an Onyx, you know?
Maybe.
It's probably harmful. Can't get the nutrients it needs from the ground or something. I don't know.
Mm.
Then they ask Janina where Jasmine might be, and she says, at the Shining Lighthouse, or Radiance Lighthouse, according to the Japanese one. And so Ash and Co. run off. Then we get our Who's That Pokemon trivia. This Pokemon is so big, it has a hard time standing on its hind legs. Weirdly, this version of Olivine has 2 lighthouses, but they find out the closer lighthouse, which is shorter and looks more historical, is the Shining Lighthouse. Meanwhile, Team Rocket is spying from somewhere above. The gang enter the lighthouse, and when they reach the top, they find Ampharos laying down. Then Jasmine and another guy show up from another set of steps. This guy is Myron, Jasmine's grandfather. Ash asks about when she can battle, but she can't make a promise until Sparkle is feeling better. Myron explains that the Shining Lighthouse used to be the lighthouse before electricity, and they used the light from Ampharos' tail to light it up. It is still an important part of their local tradition, so they still use it, while also having another lighthouse. But Ampharos has not been able to light it up now, and everyone in town is worried. Myron ordered rare medicine from Cyanwood, and Jasmine was going to send Janina to get it, but that was before her trick on Ash. So Ash and Co. offer to get the medicine, and the boat is leaving soon. Outside the window of the lighthouse is Team Rocket, and they want to steal Ampharos. Ash and Co. see them, and so Team Rocket shed light on an interesting intro.
Need a clue? Prepare for trouble.
Make it 2, and I mean double. Team Rocket fires a thing Meowth calls a mystery missile that, once it gets inside, it unleashes wheezing that causes a smokescreen. Brock grabs Ampharos, and they all flee down the lighthouse. Janina and Onyx are walking along the street and see something happening at the lighthouse. Then Brock exits the lighthouse and gets caged along with Ampharos. They get out of reach of Ash, but Janina is on the pier with her Onyx. Arbok is sent out to block Onyx from getting to the cage. Team Rocket uses a fan to get speed and go over the sea, and is out of reach of Onyx, except that's not true, especially with Team Rocket pausing to taunt. Then Janina thinks on Onyx's strengths, and one of those strengths is it being long or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it latches onto a nearby rock and sends its tail over to where the cage is, and it wraps around Arbok. So when Team Rocket tries to flee, poor Arbok is being stretched and strangled. Arbok keeps getting the worst of the situations.
Arbok is actually kind of funny.
I'm very amused when Arbok gets into these crummy circumstances because of Team Rocket. Its expressions are always hilarious.
Yes.
Then Onyx starts pulling the balloon in closer. Janina grabs a rock and runs up the Onyx and breaks the lock on the cage, freeing Brock and Ampharos. Then Pikachu is sent in, especially since it won't hurt Onyx, and Team Rocket is blasting off again. Ding! Ding! Jasmine was impressed, and Janina is now sent on the boat to get the medicine. But Jasmine still can't battle, and so Ash and Co. take the boat to Cyanwood too when they learn from Myron that Cyanwood also has a gym. Team Rocket is pulled up by an anchor, and so they are likely headed to Cyanwood as well. And our Who's That Pokemon? It's Feraligatr. Now we had one muddled middle, one irritating interruption, and one interesting intro. Now to rank it.
Well, how much did you like it? Because I'm thinking maybe a little bit lower on the list, but if you liked it a lot, I'm good with putting it higher.
Honestly, there wasn't a whole lot about it that really gripped me. I was excited that we were in Olivine and that we had to see Jasmine and stuff. And lighthouses. I love lighthouses, so that was cool. Mm. But, yeah, I think most of my enjoyment of the episode is like, hey, we're finally at Olivine.
Right? That's what I was feeling. So I'm thinking maybe right below got Miltank and above the Light Fantastic. What do you think?
I mean, that's fine. We could go lower even if you want. I don't care.
I think that's probably a good spot.
Okay. Well, then that makes Fight for the Light our current 31 out of 51. Alright, and that brings us to the last episode of Johto League Champions. Season 4, episode 52. Machoke man, or Tanbajimu, Makko Shobu, Kakuto Taikatsu, or Tanbajim, Front Game Wrestling Showdown.
With 3 exclamation points. They're doing better these days.
So, just like all of our gym battle episodes, this one calls out the gym, Tanbajim, Cyanwood Gym. So we can pretty much guess that we're finally doing a gym battle. The gang are headed to Cyanwood on the boat, and once there, Janina gets the medicine, and they say their goodbyes as she heads back to Olivine. Now, we did just get a character that we'd just seen before, but since she traveled with them, this wasn't really a reunion of any sort.
Yes, I do agree with that.
The gang find a guy battling a Machoke, and if paying attention to opening credits, or, playing the game like we did, the guy is definitely Chuck, the Cyanwood gym leader. Chuck has Machoke try different moves as he trains his Pokemon. When Chuck learns that Ash is looking for the gym, he has Ash march after him. Brock and Misty march as well, but Misty isn't so sure about it. Once they reach the gym, they beat Chuck there, and he collapses, exhausted. And then a bunch of fighting Pokemon and children come rushing out, calling Chuck Master, and Ash is able to put this puzzle together and realizes Chuck is the gym leader.
I was going to say too, but when they got there, they were also a little exhausted, and Chuck comes up, "Are you guys out of shape or something?"
Yes. And then they all eat a bunch, and the food is delicious. Chuck's wife says Ash shouldn't have any trouble beating her flabby husband, which kind of sounds like the Chuck's wife in Cyanwood. Talking about him being out of shape or whatever. When he's clearly not really all that out of shape. Then Team Rocket is walking along city streets exhausted from clinging to that anchor all the way to Cyanwood. And they are hungry. They smell food and follow their noses. Meanwhile, at the gym, the gang is all stuffed, and Brock recognizes the food as Pokemon Power Food that is designed to strengthen Pokemon and their trainers. Then Chuck wants to burn off the calories, and so he is wondering if Ash is ready for a battle. This time, instead of 3, each trainer gets to use 2 Pokemon each. Chuck is using that Machoke he was training, and just like in the game, he also is using Poliwrath, so he's doing that dual type thing. Where it's like, wait, that's a water Pokemon, but he's a water fighting Pokemon.
Which means he had to train a water Pokemon unless he traded for the Poliwrath.
Good point. Ash chooses Pikachu because Poliwrath is weak to electricity, but Pikachu is defeated. Meanwhile, Team Rocket is sneaking in the bushes and gets to the food in the gym and tackle the leftovers.
There, in the bushes.
Back to the battle, Ash can only think of Bayleaf to battle the Poliwrath because it is strong against water Pokemon. But, Hoot Hoot is a flying type, and that is also good against fighting.
Wait, did you say Hoot Hoot?
Sorry, Noctowl. Whatever.
Okay.
He has a flying type Pokemon. That will also be good against all that stuff.
But he can't be smart all the time. Come on.
Yes. Because, he chose Bayleaf because Bayleaf is strong against water. But then what happens when Machoke comes out? You know what I mean? Whereas if you choose Noctowl, you can take out both.
Yeah.
Especially if, I know Noctowl gets some weird moves. He might even get some psychic moves, so those would also be good.
Isn't Hypnosis a psychic move?
Yeah, but I don't think it does damage. It just puts him to sleep.
Oh.
Anyway, Bayleaf defeats Poliwrath, and so Machoke is next. But first, Chuck has Machoke karate chop his chest to psych the Pokemon up and get himself to focus. So Ash decides to do that too by having Bayleaf use its body slam against him. And then we get our Who's That Pokemon trivia. The shining tail of this Pokemon can be seen from far away. If you watched last episode, you should know what this Pokemon is. Back to Team Rocket, they are laying on the floor stuffed, and Chuck's wife shows up, seemingly confused and concerned by their presence, and asks if she can help them. And Team Rocket serves up an interesting intro.
Well, you can start by preparing for trouble.
Then you might consider making it double. And then they suffer an irritating interruption when the wife cuts in and thinks they must be Chuck's new students. Turns out they are just in time for afternoon chores, and Team Rocket is convinced when they hear there is an afternoon snack. They're like, okay, we'll do it. Back to the battle, Machoke and Bayleaf are told to focus. The battle isn't looking good at first, but in the end, Bayleaf wins. Big shock. Now Ash has the Storm Badge. And then we have a phone call with Janina where Ash learns Jasmine still can't battle yet, though the medicine has been helping Sparkle. Then Chuck tells Ash to check out the Whirl Islands while he waits for Jasmine to be ready.
I think I missed the phone call with Jasmine because I was like...
Janina.
Oh, Janina. Oh, yeah. Well, I think I saw that they were on the phone call, but I think I missed exactly what was said because I was like, why don't they go back to Olivine City and go fight
Right.
the gym? But that makes sense.
No, instead we get a whole arc involving the Whirl Islands to draw out getting to the gym.
Yeah.
Then Team Rocket is reflecting on a good day of food, and we have an entertaining exit maybe, because they're just enjoying the simple life of hard work and yummy food. And that's their conclusion for the episode. But they also give us a catching catchphrase in their exit by talking about the simple life being simply a blast. So it was when they were leaving, they blast, right? Then Ash and Co wave goodbye as they leave on a ferry, and Misty is super excited for water Pokemon at the Whirl Islands, and Brock is excited for girls.
Of course.
And that's a wrap on Season 4. And our who's that Pokemon? It's Ampharos, the lighthouse Pokemon. That's not what he's called, but... So, we had an interesting intro, an irritating interruption, an entertaining exit, and a catching catchphrase. So, our babysitting Brock totals went from 26 to 28. Catching catchphrase went from 17 to 18. Distracted Pokemon 22 to 23. Entertaining exits from 4 to 6. Interesting intro 39 to 43. Irritating interruption went from 16 to 19. And muddled middle went from 0 to 1. And then if you want the total tallies for the season, you can check them out when I post them on our Routes Through Pokemon Facebook page. But now, we need to rank it, and then we need to mess with our rankings. Alright, well, it was kind of fun. I like some of the stuff that was going on with Team Rocket. Happy to do chores because they just keep getting fed. But overall, Ash makes stupid decisions on Pokemon choices. Chuck is kind of amusing, but not my favorite of the gym battles by any means.
No, not really.
Yeah, honestly, I'd probably just put this one under the last one.
Oh! They just keep getting worse after Got Milk.
They're all just kind of in the same realm. So then that makes this episode ranked at 32 out of 52. But that is before we start applying our repels, lures, Pokeballs, Great Balls, and Ultra Ball. And possibly a Master Ball.
Is the lure that make it go up or down?
Yes.
Okay.
And so how this works is that Ruby and I both have a repel, which can send one of our rankings down by 5, or up to 5. We have a Pokeball, which can raise anyone to, up 1 space. We have a Great Ball, which can raise anything up 3 spots. And we have an Ultra Ball, which can go up to 5 spots. We also have a Master Ball, which can shoot anything up to the number 1 spot, but we only get 1 for a group of seasons for a generation. So we still have 1 more season to go in Johto. So if we use the Master Ball now, we won't have it for the next season. But if we feel it needs to be used, we'll need to use it. Maybe we won't use it at all. And then we also have a Lure, which can bring something down 3 spots, or it can raise something up 1 spot, just like a Pokeball, or it can be used with a Pokeball to raise it up by 1 more spot. So a Pokeball could then be 2, or a Great Ball 4, or an Ultra Ball 6. We both can choose the same episode to try to capture, I guess, and raise and lower, but we cannot use multiple balls on 1 episode ourselves.
And so, if we both use the same thing on something, but we both wanted it just raised, that 1 Pokeball or whatever, will we just, retract our Pokeball?
We'll just agree to put it where we want it. We won't get the Pokeball back or anything.
Well, yeah. It'll break off and go into nowhere like Pokemon.
Something like that, yeah. Alright, so, let's start with the negative, the repel. I'm using my repel on the episode Ringmasters. I liked 2 hits and a miss better than Ringmasters.
So you're using it full force, or?
I think, actually, I wanted to go down below Apple Core, because I think I liked Apple Core better than it too. So that is putting it down 1, 2, 4 spaces, I think.
What was Ringmasters again?
The wrestling match. And it had Snorlax, which was fun, but...
Oh, that one.
So currently that shoves Ringmasters from the 36th spot to the 39th spot.
Alright, I used my repel on a Ghost of a Chance. I was going to put it down like the full 5, but...
So then that makes a Ghost of a Chance move from the 11th spot to the 15th spot. Alright, did you use your lure as a negative?
Mm-mm.
Okay, neither did I. Okay, so then let us move on to the Pokeball. Where did you use your Pokeball?
I used it on Ringmasters.
That's funny. That's actually hilarious. Alright, so it is now above Apple Core, so I should have shoved it down further, apparently. Alright, so Ringmasters is now 38 instead of 39. I happen to use my Pokeball on a Ghost of a Chance.
Oh.
It's just really funny that we both Pokeballed the other's repel.
Mm-hmm. That's why they were probably down there, because the other one didn't like them.
Okay, so that moves a Ghost of a Chance from 15 to 14. So it is now between Control Freak and the Kecleon Caper, which is an okay place to be. Those are good episodes. Alright, so then the Great Ball. I'll go ahead and go this time then. So I used the Great Ball on Beauty and the Breeder. Beauty and the Breeder has bothered me in its place for a very long time. I've always wondered how it got stuck there, and it definitely deserved better. I also used a lure on it, so it's actually going up 4 spots.
Oh, okay.
I really enjoyed that one. It was really good. And I like Team Rocket's efforts in becoming good at the beauty thing. So Beauty and the Breeder just went from 34 to 30.
Wait, so back where it was at the beginning?
Yeah, we shoved a bunch of stuff above it. I know.
I actually also used my Great Ball on the same thing.
Beauty and the Breeder?
Yeah.
Cool. And actually it was a little higher even with those 3 that got in there, because it was, I think, under the light fantastic for a while, which really bugged me. But it's funny that you also felt that it needed to go up higher.
Yes, like, it just needs to be nudged up.
Okay, so how far are you putting it then?
I was planning on the full 3.
Do you still want that now that it's already moved?
Sure.
Sounds good to me. It's funny that we keep highlighting some of the same stuff. Yeah, all of our stuff has been connected. Like, I did a repel that you Pokeballed, and I did the opposite. We both Great Balled the same thing, so I'm very interested to see what happens with the Ultra Ball.
I don't think we Ultra Balled the same thing, I'm gonna say.
Alright, so Beauty and the Breeder is now 27, just under Carrying On. Which would probably be above that too, but we just couldn't make it go that far. So, alright, so then it's the Ultra Ball. What did you Ultra Ball?
I Ultra Balled a hot water battle.
Interesting. We definitely did not Ultra Ball the same thing.
I was like, Daddy just doesn't seem to have too much of like a, yeah, that was a good episode. But I liked it.
It was fine.
Yeah, see?
And I could even see it being above Beauty and the Breeder. Honestly, both of those could be a little higher over some of the ones that are in there. Alright, so do you want it the full amount?
Yeah, I think so.
Putting it right above Freeze Frame, it looks like. So, Hot Water Battle is now 23 between Ariados Amigos and Freeze Frame. My Ultra Ball went to Waboo-Palooza.
Really?
Every time I think about that one, I always remember that I just loved Team Rocket's thing in that one, and it just, I think, deserves better. And airtime was never a big one for me, so I could have just shoved it down, but instead I thought just raise Waboo-Palooza up, because it could also get it back past Bug Stops here, which was also great. Like, these are all good episodes. And a Goldenrod opportunity. I think I even want it above the Heartbreak of Brock, so I think I'm going to use the whole thing.
That shocks me. But doesn't make me sad.
I figured it would not. Alright, so that makes Waboo-Palooza our new number 3.
Fancy.
And so, after... Oh, wait. Hold on.
I haven't done...
Did you use
repel.
the Master... Oh, you mean Lure.
Lure.
Ah, yes. What's your lure?
I used it on the Screen Actors Guild.
You like that one, huh?
Yeah. Went up one.
Yep. So that's
Just
above apple core as well.
You're the one who didn't like apple core.
I know. So that's just interesting to me that you keep putting things above it.
I thought it was fine, but then you're like, yeah, it didn't have anything to do with the story. I'm like, yeah, that's true. It was kind of just like a filler.
I mean, it was a good episode. I didn't like it as much as you seem to have when we watched it. Alright, so that puts the Screen Actors Guild at number 40. Now, did you use your Master Ball?
Well, even if I did, you've got to go first, so that mine's still number 1.
I did not use my Master Ball.
I used it on Miltank because of the quacks.
If you were going to use it, you would have done it on the other Wobbuffet one that had Wobbuffet and Quagsire in it. Which was a hilarious episode.
Yeah, I would have. But no, I did not use my Master Ball.
Alright.
Looks like there's going to be competition in the last season.
I guess so.
You've got to go first.
I do not have to.
I'm not going first.
So, that means that our current top 10 is Troubles Brewing, the Eevee episode, Current Events, where Chikorita becomes Bayleaf, The Wayward Wobbuffet, which is hilarious and also probably could have gone up some, but I only have so many things I can do. Airtime, which was the radio show in Goldenrod City, The Bug Stops Here, the bug catching contest with Casey, and her Bayleaf, a Chikorita evolving into a Bayleaf. A Goldenrod Opportunity, which is the first episode of the season, where Ash challenges Whitney after the confusing trip through the city. The Heartbreak of Brock, where the girl comes, whatever her name was. It was a weird name.
Terimaku?
No, Tamaku? Something like that. Anyway, where she comes up with the names for her love interests, which there are multiple. Then Wabu Palooza, which was the Wobbuffet Festival, where Team Rocket actually goes in and helps out, partly because of their Wobbuffet. Power Play, the Umbreon and Gary episode, and staying at number 1, Houndoom's Special Delivery.
That was a good one.
It was so good. And for as far as the rest of the rankings are concerned, I will have those posted up on the Facebook group, so you can check them out if you so wish. But now, that is the end of the second season of Johto, and we are now jumping in to Master Quest, which also means a new theme song.
Ooh, yep.
How do you feel about the new theme song?
Pretty decent, except for the ending.
I think it's fine, but I don't like it better than the second one, the one that we were just on. I really like I feel like this is a step down. Maybe it'll change after watching more, but right now I feel like it's a step down.
What was the one we just finished?
Born to be a Winner?
Yeah, I think it is also a step down.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll rank all the Johto season theme songs at the end of Master Quest once we get there, but currently. But with that all out of the way, it is time for the first 2 episodes of Master Quest. So we are on episode 212 of the anime, or season 5, episode 1, Around the Whirlpool, or Uzumaki Reto, Aratanaru Chosen, or The Whirlpool Islands, a new challenge.
3 exclamation points.
Ooh, starting off strong.
Maybe all of them will.
Alright, so, new season. They're still on the ferry from the last episode, and Ash just got a storm badge. So they only needs 3 more. Which means this season might be the best yet, because we got 2 badges in the first season of Johto. The second season we got 3, and there was plenty of filler. But this time he needs 3 more badges, and he has to do the Johto League, right?
Gonna guess.
So, must have a lot going on here. I do think the episode count is a little higher this season, though, so...
Oh. Higher than 53?
52.
Fine.
But yes, higher than 53 as well, but there was only 52 last season. Alright, so, Misty claims to be a water-type Pokemon master. They see a bunch of whirlpools, and then we get a new opening. And, way back, I was annoyed when we left the original theme song, of course, but then, the Orange Island song grew on me, and I've been enjoying the Johto songs and stuff. So I've been able to move on from the original and enjoy the theme songs as they come. But as I said, this one feels like a step down. And I do enjoy all the animation for these intros too. They've been pretty cool. And in this one, we even get to see Gary during the opening. We also see Casey, which was cool to see. And also Richie from the first season when he was in the Kanto League, the Indigo League Championship.
Which seems promising.
It does seem promising.
For a rockin' reunion.
I'm excited. The next thing I thought was awesome is that we have a new title screen thing that shows all the badges and highlight all the ones that he's gotten are filled in, where the last 3 aren't because he hasn't got them yet.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
And there's a lot more going on the title screen. It's a lot busier. So the gang is nervous about the whirlpools, but the waitstaff offer drinks and assure them that they are very safe. Only the waitstaff is Jesse and James, and while the gang looks overboard, they try to snag Pikachu in a net. At the last moment, the boat tilts, and so the net ends up on Ash's head instead. So Team Rocket offer up an interesting intro.
Prepare for trouble, 1 lump or 2.
We'll make it double, just for you.
Because they're going to serve them tea, so they'll make it double lumps just for them.
Yep. And then they finish up with an outstanding outro.
Team Rocket's taking a well-deserved coffee break at the speed of light.
So surrender now, while we sip, or we'll be forced to fight. And then Meowth saluting, Wobbuffet! Huh? Hey, that's right. He did the Wobbuffet salute and said Wobbuffet before he got to the that's right.
Oops.
It was funny. But then Team Rocket reveals they are stowaways, so Ash and Co. walk away. But Team Rocket sends out their Pokemon. Wobbuffet does a counterattack on Pikachu's Thunderbolt, and it sends the gang flying off the boat and into the water, and they start getting sucked into a whirlpool.
That seems like something Team Rocket would do, not the gang.
Right? Misty and Ash unleash some water Pokemon to get away from the whirlpool and through the water. And we get a distracted Pokemon when Totodile dances on the water for a bit instead of swimming Ash to safety right away. Good old Totodile. Unfortunately, the Pokemon aren't enough, and the gang start getting sucked back in anyway. Then a mysterious, shadowy figure in the water swims around, and the current changes, and then the figure swims under the gang. It's huge, and looks a lot like the Pokemon that was involved in currents at the Orange Islands in Pokemon 2000, Lugia. Then something else is coming through the water, and it is a Corsola. It circles them, and then a tentacruel pops out underneath them and picks up the gang and their Pokemon in its tentacles and carries them to a boat following Corsola. Who's on the boat with the Corsola? Well, we get a rockin' reunion with Professor Elm. Elm explains he caught a Corsola on the Whirl Islands, and Misty wants to catch one now. Then they meet the ship's captain, Marius, and they all become acquainted. They all arrive on Inland Island, and it is quite colorful, like a Smeargle exploded, is how it's described at one point. And they find out it is decorated for the Whirl Cup. Not World Cup, Whirl Cup. There was some confusion by people watching it at one point. So they arrive just in time for another thing, like always. They're always got, right on the moment of some event happening when they get to these places.
Mm-hmm. And it was once in 3 years or something, too.
Yeah, I was going to say, to make it worse, this isn't even an annual thing. The World Cup is held every 3 years. But, hey, at least it doesn't start for another month yet, so they didn't get there right on time.
A month out of 36. That's 35-month convenience.
Well, and it also still ends up being just a convenience because it gives them time to get to the destination they need to for the World Cup.
Yep, otherwise they wouldn't have made it.
Right. And then I had to wonder if our Whirl Islands are our new Orange Islands. Are we going to have a bunch of different things we have to go to different islands for and all that stuff? But a big difference is at least the Whirl Islands are something that's in the game. We went right by them. We just couldn't get to them yet.
Because you didn't want to go doing random gym.
Yeah, I didn't want to do the gyms out of order. That's why.
You could have done that, and I would have done the gyms out of order, and it would have been just fine.
No. Anyway, Misty is excited for this competition, and she is going to enter. Team Rocket ended up having to climb out of the water as well. Not sure how they ended up off the boat. They get excited to see the twerps are in town, but they want to get some food first. And then we get our Who's That Pokemon trivia. This Pokemon's howl will cause you to get the shivers. At the Pokemon Center, both Ash and Misty are signing up for the Whirl Cup. There's a pool at the center that's connected to the sea so water Pokemon can swim back and forth. Ash and Misty also learn the climate is different from isle to isle. Marius asks Brock if he's registered, but Brock is actually just going to do research on best practices on breeding water Pokemon. Elm explains some finer points of the World Cup as they look at a map of the islands. There are 4 main ones, and one of them is Silver something Island. I don't remember what it was, but it had silver in the title, which I thought might be important with the whole gold-silver thing. But the Red Island is where the main tournament takes place, but there are qualifying rounds and something about challenges. Whoever wins gets the title of Water Pokemon Alpha Omega. Team Rocket is spying on this conversation, and so they learn the Pokemon to steal in the area are well trained for battle. Ash and Co. ask Elm and Marius about the Pokemon they saw in the water, but they don't know what it was. Guess what, Ash? You've met it before.
So annoying.
More and more it seems that Ash and Co. have forgotten the events of Pokemon 2000. Then they all see Team Rocket's balloon with an added contraption to the bottom. Team Rocket drop a net into the Pokemon Center pool and pull up a bunch of water Pokemon. Ash and Co. chase the balloon on Marius's boat. Then they get into a Pokemon battle and Misty is stepping up as she is practicing up for the Whirl Cup. When Staryu gets defeated, Misty gets ready to toss out another Pokemon, but we get a Psyduck sighting instead as he pops out.
This season is having a good start.
Right? And he looks super determined too. Remember that? He was like, all like, I'm ready for this. And he rushes forward, hops into the water, and panics because he can't swim. Mm-hmm. Poor Psyduck.
So funny.
Misty returns Psyduck and Ash sends in Pikachu, but it is caught in a net that he can't zap through. Then Corsola jumps into the fight. Corsola cuts Pikachu free and the rest of the water Pokemon, and then it hits the balloon, and Team Rocket is blasting off again! Ding! Misty wants a Corsola even more now. Then the gang are back at the center with Elm and are talking with Oak, which Elm pushes in and takes over the convo again, just like in that first episode of Johto Journeys. Have we not seen Elm at all last season? I don't think we have. I think we only saw him in the very first episode of the first Johto season, and now he's here in the 3rd season.
Yep.
Wow, I just realized that. Alright. And now the gang have to travel to another part of the Blue Island, which they're on, to catch a ferry to Yellow Rock Island, which is the next step to finally get to the Red Island. So off they go and say goodbye to Marius and Elm. And who's that Pokemon? It's Houndoom, which was the top guy in our rankings for our episodes. So our tallies are 1 interesting intro, 1 outstanding outro, a distracted Pokemon, this time being Totodile and not a Victory Bell one. We had 1 Rockin' reunion and a Psyduck sighting. How exciting.
Alright, now it's time to rank it, and I'm going to rank this one, and I think it should be either the first or the last one. Which one do you think?
I'm going to go with the first one.
Okay, it's going to be the first.
Yes, we have a new ranking list now that we're in a new season, so. Alright, so our next episode, Season 5, Episode 2, Fly Me to the Moon.
Ooh, I like the title.
And let me play among the stars. Sorry.
Or
Papo to deka papo, Maraminu sora e. Papo and the enormous Papo towards the as yet unseen sky.
And they are continuing their good streak so far of 3 exclamation point. You know what? I'm going to start my own counter and see what the longest streak of the season is for 3 exclamation points in the Japanese title.
Do you remember what Papo is? Pidgey!
Oh, we're already there?
Pidgey and the enormous Pidgey. Alright, so the gang is traveling along Blue Point Island and they see 4 Corsola swimming to Pudgy Pidgey Isle. And we are continuing with Misty's desire to catch Corsola. I have to say, this seems like an arc that is going to feature Misty a lot more, and I think that's pretty cool. That we're going to give a lot more focus to Ash's traveling companions, if true.
Wait. Does that mean they're about to leave?
I don't know. I just like that we were featuring them more.
They're about
Hey, Noctow's still around, and they kept making me think he was leaving. So since Misty wants to follow those Corsola, she is looking for a boat, and she has some amusing Shakespeare speaking moments, like, "Wherefore's a boat?" to get to the isle.
Wherefore
art thou?
Yes, wherefore art thou boat?
But she just says, "Wherefore is a boat?"
Yeah.
Which is not even what wherefore means, but that's whatever. Alright, to get to the isle. She wants a boat to get to the isle. Because, yeah, it's just a little part of the island that they're on already. But another traveler says the boat won't get her there because it's Whirlpool season. Oh. Isn't it always Whirlpool season? It's Whirl Islands, right? And then her desire for a Corsola is even more frustrating for her because about the only thing that can get to the island are Corsola. So if she had a Corsola, she could get to the island where all the Corsola went. Misty wishes she had some wings and has another Shakespeare paraphrase. "My kingdom for some wings!" while standing dramatically at the end of a rock as a big wave comes splashing in like that moment in Little Mermaid. This guy that showed up says he can't give Misty wings, but he can get her to the island. He is a caretaker of the unique Pokemon on that isle. The gang is confused because the unique Pokemon are just Pidgey, according to the guidebook, which are not very unique Pokemon.
Fat Pidgeys.
Yes, but the guy claims that once they see them, the gang will find there's something different about them. So they have to cross a rickety bridge to get to the isle, and then the Pidgey show up, revealing how pudgy they are since they don't have to fly away.
It's funny.
Because there's no predators for them on that area. Then they get to the guy's home, and he is apparently the only person who lives on the isle. Oh, and Team Rocket have spied the pudgy Pidgey from their balloon. A regular Pidgey and a flight cap... yeah, so and then Team Rocket has been flying above, and they can see all the big Pidgey on the ground.
Do they want the pudgy Pidgey?
I don't remember if they want them or not, but they notice them. A regular Pidgey in a flight cap shows up, and it belongs to the guy. He's named the Pidgey Orville. And as soon as he said that name, I thought that the Pidgey was named after Orville Wright, of the Wright brothers. Like, I thought that might be the joke that they had going there. And then, when I learned the guy's name from the captions watching the episode, I found out his name was Wilbur, which is the other Wright brothers' name. So it was definitely a reference to the Wright brothers.
That's funny. Did the Wright brothers invent the first airplane?
Yeah.
I thought Leonardo da Vinci or something designed the first, model airplane that kind of flew.
Yeah, he designed something that flew. I don't remember exactly.
Did he? Okay.
Or that could potentially fly. I don't know all the details. The Wright brothers are credited for getting us the first airplanes to get to where we are.
Yeah.
So Orville was born on the island, but he can fly because he is a Pidgey with a dream and loves to fly high. So he's not quite like the rest of the pudgy Pidgeys.
Pudgy Pidgey.
While at the house, Ash, Wilbur, and others chat with Professor Oak, and he says to let him know if anything else unique about those Pidgeys shows up. Wilbur basically understands Orville telling him that Pidgey wants to fly higher than any Pidgey ever, as it looks at a painting that depicts a Pidgey flying off toward the sun. So Wilbur helped train Orville to fly unlike the other Pidgey on the isle. Team Rocket spy on all the conversations in the cabin and decide to steal Orville. They show up at the door in disguise, just as Brock wonders what sort of world one might find in the outer atmosphere of the planet, and Jessie answers with an interesting intro.
Probably a world of trouble.
And make it double. So then after James says his classic part, Jessie steps on his foot to shut him up in an irritating interruption. Like, don't say the motto and give us away. Because they can't help but reveal themselves.
Oh, yeah.
They claim to be meteorologists, and they have a meteorological balloon, so they can measure Pidgey's height when he flies. Jessie offers for the twerps to come along, too, in the balloon. Jessie offered that so they could get Pikachu. But I think James was very correct to be uncertain about the offer. Because it's like, what? Why are we... What? bringing them in the balloon seems not like a good idea if we want to capture that Pidgey. They agree to try at dawn, and that night, Meowth brings a mini microphone headset over to Orville, and he says he was once like Orville, wanting to rise above other Meowths. Now he wants to help since no one was there to help him. Then we get our Who's That Pokemon trivia. This Pokemon's body has a bright orange glow. Then, the next day, they launch up in the balloon, and Orville takes off up into the sky. As they're going along, Orville flies right through a flock of Ruby's favorite Pokemon.
I'm guessing
Spearow!
they're not my favorite Pokemon!
Spearow
Nope.
over there! They're upset and chase that mean ol' Orville who disrupted their flight.
I'm upset.
Right?
I'd chase them back and I'd bite their heads off.
No, you're upset at Orville for ruining their flight. I get you.
What? If I was Orville, I'd be like, let's just pause right here, guys. I'm gonna go chase him off, drown him in the water, and then kill them.
You probably like Spearow so much because being a flying type.
What?
Because he's a flying type, he can easily dispatch the Bellsprouts that you loathe.
What? Not my spoopy.
Not your spoopy. Alright, so Team Rocket and the gang are so high that they need oxygen masks now.
What? I didn't know you could get that high on drugs where you need oxygen masks.
No, high in the sky. Weirdo. Apparently, that altitude is Fearow territory, and so now Fearow are chasing Orville. Fearow is about to get Orville, and so Ash sends Pikachu in to shock it. The Fearow lands on the balloon, though, and it causes the fake covering to come off, revealing the Meowth balloon. So, speaking into their oxygen masks, we get another interesting intro.
Prepare for trouble in high altitude.
Make it double. I'm in a mood. And this time, Misty is the one to deliver the irritating interruption. She's like, save it. We've heard it before.
Oh.
Pikachu gets mad and is ready to deal with Team Rocket, but then he coughs and passes out. Not enough oxygen, so Ash shares his mask. The rockets on the balloon cut out, because they were using rockets to shoot up faster. It's getting cold, and frost is forming on Orville, but he doesn't give up. Meowth understands Orville, and they bond some more. Then Orville dives back into the atmosphere, and it crashes through the Meowth balloon.
Because he got up into space.
Right. Orville is out cold, but oxygen and a Pikachu shock wake it up, which theoretically might not work since he's a Pidgey, so flying type, an electric shock.
We'll just give it to... We'll give him this one. It's a sweet moment.
It is a cool moment. The hole in the balloon gets bigger, and they all start to crash. The Pudgy Pidgey on the island all jump up and soften the blow on their big backs. The balloon is trashed, and Team Rocket are all resting on one of the rockets they used to get their balloon so high. Gee, I wonder what's about to happen there.
Oh, gosh.
That's right. Team Rocket blasts off again! Ding! Turns out the rest of the Pidgey were encouraged by Orville and will start to fly themselves, and the gang continue on their Whirl Cup journey. Meanwhile, Team Rocket find themselves hanging from a tree. Meowth is sitting up in the tree chatting with Orville and asks about his adventure and if the moon is really made of cheese. And our Who's That Pokemon? It's Magmar. Our tallies are 2 interesting intros and 2 irritating interruptions.
Now it's time to rank it.
Yes, it is.
This is kind of tough.
There were certainly a lot more counts, and it was fun to see Psyduck sighting and everything, but honestly, I really love Orville and the Pidgey and everything. And the Pudgy Pidgey were funny. But Orville's story was definitely a lot cooler instead of, Ash not remembering Lugia. And Misty's moments about we're for a boat and stuff was pretty funny. So I think I rank this above the first one.
Whoa, getting dramatic. Going to number 1 so fast? No, I definitely agree with you.
Yeah, I liked Orville a lot. Alright, so that means for our 5th season, I will give you our full tallies because all the tallies came from these 2 episodes. We have 1 distracted Pokemon, 3 interesting intros already in 2 episodes, 2 irritating interruptions, 1 outstanding outro, 1 Psyduck sighting, and 1 rockin' reunion. Alright, so now it's time to give a Pokemon a Pokeball.
Oh, yeah.
Who is our standout Pokemon in these 6 episodes?
Oops.
1, 2, 3... Orville.
Pidgey.
Pidgey's the standout one. Mostly for me, it's because of Orville, but you really liked your Pidgey.
Okay, I liked Orville too. He was really fun. But Pidgey.
Yeah, Pidgey. So Pidgey. Who would have thought Pidgey would win one of these? So he gets a great ball.
Oh wow, go Pidgey, go Pidgey.
All right, so now we will move on to Pokemon cards.
Boop boop.
Alright, so we're back to Prismatic Evolutions, and we're both opening, I think, the same type of pack. So the 3 original evolutions: Vaporeon, Jolteon, and Flareon.
Yep. First up, I have a Riolu, fighting type. It has the peculiar power of being able to see emotions, such as joy and rage, in the form of waves.
That's kind of cool.
Oh, supporter, trainer, professor's research, Professor Elm.
Oh, nice.
Discard your hand and draw 7 cards. Duskull, psychic type. Duskull's victims suffer an intense chill as the Pokemon siphons their life force away, glaring at them with its bright red eye all the while. Oh, okay. Houndoom evolves from Houndour.
Houndoom!
Dark type. Upon hearing its eerie howls, other Pokemon get the shivers and head straight back to their nests. Ooh, Stadium Trainer card. Festival Grounds. Each Pokemon that has an energy attached, both yours and your opponent's, recover from all special conditions and can't be affected by any special conditions. Great Tusk, fighting, ancient. Supporter Trainer, Carmine. If you go first, you may use this card during your first turn. Discard your hand and draw 5 cards. Reverse Hollow, Dreepy, Dragon type, fire and psychic. It has a habit of biting at Clauncher even though it doesn't feed on them. This is said to be vestigial behavior from when Dreepy was alive. Another Reverse Hollow. Another trainer card item. Buddy Puffin. Search your deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon with 70 HP or less and put them onto your bench. Then shuffle your deck. Oh, I already have this rare. Pheasantipity, psychic. Ability, Adrenia Pheromone.
Yeah, I think you've read those.
Yeah. And then a steel type.
Alright. My first card is Hippopotas, fighting type. It shrouds itself in sand to ward off germs. It travels easily through the sands of the desert. Houndour, dark type. It uses different kinds of cries for communicating with others of its kind and for pursuing its prey. Spritzy, psychic type. A scent pouch within this Pokemon's body allows it to create various scents. A change in its diet will alter the fragrance it produces. Slowpoke, water type. It is always vacantly lost in thought, but no one knows what it is thinking about. It is good at fishing with its tail. Supporter trainer card. Kirin. Choose one. Switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. Or during this turn, attacks used by your Pokemon do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon EX and active Pokemon V before applying weakness and resistance. Executor evolves from Execute, grass type. It is said that on rare occasions, one of its heads will drop off and continue on as an Execute. Supporter trainer card, Crispin. Search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards of different types. Reveal them and put one of them into your hand. Attach the other to one of your Pokemon. Then shuffle your deck. I have a reverse hollow of the Friends in Paldea. Draw 3 cards. Another reverse hollow supporter trainer card, Briar. You can use this card only if your opponent has exactly 2 prize cards remaining. During this turn, if your opponent's active Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an attack used by your Terra Pokemon, take 1 more prize card. Ooh. And then I got Iron Thorn's EX Future card. Lightning type. Ability. Initialization. As long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, Pokemon with a rule box in play, both yours and your opponent's, have no abilities except for future Pokemon. And then I got a basic Psychic Energy. Alright. That is our episode then. So, Routes Through Pokemon is a Hunterfield Institute production. You can find us on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, and other podcasting platforms. You can also catch us on YouTube at the Hunterfield Institute channel. Just look for the Routes Through Pokemon playlist. So go ahead and like, subscribe, rate, review, and leave comments wherever you find us. We'll be happy to engage. You can also find us at our Routes Through Pokemon Facebook page, where we post twice a week. We have Who's That Pokemon segment. It's also where I'll post our favorite cards from our pack openings and current list of our tallies on our episode rankings and which Pokemon we favored for the episode. You can also contact us through email at hunterfieldmanor@gmail.com. And you can also engage with me and find me lurking around places like X at HunterfieldIns or Instagram at kinetic_card. I also have engaged in threads a bit there. And so then next week we will be covering 7 more episodes of the anime as we journey through more of the Whirl Islands arc of our final Johto season. We're really stretching out before we take on another gym, apparently. And then after that, we will have another detour episode where I think things are going to get a little funky due to some different choices being made by Flame as he goes through Pokemon Silver. So that'll be interesting to catch up on. And then after that, I think we just have one more episode of anime coverage before we get back into the game.
Yay!
So we can get to our 7th gym finally. The one that you've been longing for.
I just wanted to do it out of order because that was fun.
Well, it seems like Flame might be living that dream for you. So, thank you so much for listening to our podcast. We hope you have been enjoying it. We look forward to hearing from you. And we will catch you on the next route. Bye-bye. Sayonara. Part 35. Showdown in Cerulean.
Mizu, go!
The horsey shot forward from the Pokeball, and Violet wasted no time shouting out orders.
Send some bubbles to that Rhyhorn.
The 2 members of Team Rocket and the stranger were all surprised at the sudden commotion that had just interrupted their standoff. It wasn't until after the bubbles connected successfully with the Rhyhorn that they all started to respond. "Ekans, go after that horsey!" called out the grunt from the left. His Pokemon obeyed, and it slithered with amazing speed toward Mizu. Violet was shocked at the Ekans' speed, but even more surprising is what she saw beyond the grunt and his Pokemon. Just behind him was a bridge that crossed a river out of town, and on that bridge were a handful of trainers. Among that group was Trevor.
Mizu, quick, hit that Ekans.
The commands came too late, and Horsey couldn't respond in time. The Ekans wrapped itself around Mizu and began to squeeze. At that same time, the other Rocket Thug sent his Rhyhorn charging, but not at a Pokemon. The large beast was headed straight for Violet herself. She was quickly realizing she was in over her head and in a kind of battle that didn't follow traditional rules. Or likely any rules at all. Sand attack! The Farfetch'd landed right between Violet and the charging Pokemon. It then flapped its wings wildly, whipping up a bunch of sand and dirt right at the Rhyhorn. Pound them! Boomed another command from the stranger. Whether intentional or not, Violet had just been saved from the Rhyhorn as it veered off course, having difficulty seeing. She used that opportunity to tell Mizu to unleash a smokescreen. The situation was too dangerous and chaotic. Some cover would help her and the stranger get away from the Rocket people. Then she called out to her friend.
Trevor!
It was not time to be picky about who she got help from, not when the rocket jerks didn't care whether or not they hurt or even killed others in whatever they were trying to do. Horsey was covering the area in darkness while it still struggled to get free of the Ekans. Then something pink crashed directly into Mizu and the Ekans and sent them all tumbling toward the bridge that became more obscured by the Horsey's smokescreen. Violet panicked and chased after them. Cut! The strange bird Pokemon zoomed forward and made a slashing motion with its leek, and suddenly the bridge began to fall apart. Ekans! Cried out the Pokemon's trainer. There was the sound of something hitting water, and Violet's stomach sank. Had Mizu been sent tumbling down with the Ekans?
No, not again!
This painfully reminded her of the incident of the Bellsprout knocking her newly captured Pokemon off a cliff.
Mizu!
Violet's cries were cut off from a fit of coughing as she choked on the smokescreen still lingering about. Not so fast, the stranger shouted. It was followed by the startled cry of the Ekans trainer. You and I need to talk, Matthews. Just not here, came a firm but calm voice that must have belonged to the rocket grunt with the Rhyhorn. Let's find someplace a little quieter. Violet cursed the smokescreen she had Mizu send up. She could only hear the conversation and get glimpses of where people were, and they weren't staying still. Finally, she found the stranger, and she nearly jumped out of her skin when she saw one piercing eye staring straight at her. Then he nodded. All right, let's go. As the smoke cleared, the stranger and both members of the Rockets were riding the Rhyhorn toward the south, leaving Violet alone with her Horsey missing. Are you okay? Violet looked up and saw Trevor across the river. She shook her head. No, she called back.
My Horsey fell!
Just use that! Trevor pointed at something on Violet's side of the river, and when she looked down, she saw a fishing rod. I think one of the trainers on the bridge might have dropped it when it collapsed. Clinging on to a small shred of hope, Violet snatched up the rod and cast the line down into the river. It took only seconds before there was a tug, and, sure enough, Mizu was clinging to the other end. Once the Horsey was up, the girl hugged it tightly and looked over at Trevor.
Thank you.
Not a problem. He looked at the remnants of the bridge clinging to his side of the river. Glad I already earned my badge. Not sure when I'll be able to get back over there. Violet, now reunited with her Pokemon, surveyed the damage more closely. She wondered why the Farfetch'd had done that. Had she misread the entire situation? After all, the stranger rode along with the Rocket guys in the end and even seemed to know at least one of them. Were they working together all along? And if so, then why did they want to destroy that bridge? She wasn't likely to figure out the answers standing there.
Yeah, that was lucky.
Ha! Luck! It was all skill.
I doubt that. I've battled you before, remember?
And you cheated, remember? Violet rolled her eyes.
So you've convinced yourself to believe?
Unlike their other rounds of that same argument, neither of them seemed to actually be arguing this time. Violet couldn't be sure why it didn't bother her as much, but she figured that maybe it had something to do with knowing she wasn't going to have to worry about that brat for a while now. Trevor smiled, amused by their banter. Well, I guess I'll see you around. Good luck.
Thanks,
Violet responded.
You too.
Violet decided that she couldn't waste any more time. She needed to go for her second badge. Looking down at Mizu, she was about to speak to the Horsey when she noticed that the Pokemon's eyes looked distant, and its skin was pale. Something was very wrong. To be continued.